your imagination. Behind the screen,
So
there's a world built for you.
So if I came up with,
me,
if I did that every week,
take my hand,
if every week I was like,
I'll
let me
point you
share
in the
my
right
screen,
direction.
and it was something like that, would it be more enjoyable if it was always the same thing, or would it be funner if it was like a surprise every week, something new?
Well, I mean, it's probably not correct to assume that any of that was enjoyable. So,
What?
like,
In what way? Wait a minute. I'm talking about, this is just for us, not for the audience.
Sure.
oh, you're asking what joke we would enjoy that you do.
Yes, pre-show. This is pre-show information I'm getting. Like,
Ooh.
obviously, I'm going to do that, something like that every time just for myself. But I'm curious, would you guys find it funnier if it was the same type of screen every time? Or is it better if it's just something brand new and that you would have never thought of?
Probably brand new.
But I go brand new. Tom?
I mean, I want to say brand new, but doing the same joke over and over is very on brand for us.
Yeah,
True.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. So, I mean, normally, I would think a normal person would, of course, go, yes, brand new joke, please. But that's why I'm asking, because what we do is far from normal.
Right. So I'm going to stop this recording. This is a good question, but I don't want this on the show. Or do you want this on the show?
I don't know. Why not?
Oh, like, do we want this good or not?
Again, that was never an option.
Remember, gentlemen, failure, that's about our only option.
Are you still recording?
Yes?
Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the Paul Goebel Show. I'm your host, Paul Goebel. Joining me, as always, are three idiots. One of them is my best friend, Jim Bruce.
Hello, everybody's.
The other two are Tom Griffin and Brian McNett.
Hello.
Hey.
I wasn't sure if Brian was going to talk. I was giving him
Oh, am I
space,
supposed to go now?
Didn't you guys work this out? You've known each other.
No, because you usually introduce us one at a
go-
time.
hold
You
on.
usually tell us the order we're supposed to speak in.
Yeah.
You switched it up.
I know. I wanted to catch you off guard.
Okay, let's
but
do
I
it. Do it again then. Do it again.
All right. And also joining me is Tom Griffin and Brian McNett.
Hey.
All right, I think I get what the problem is. Do it one more time.
All right. And also joining me is Tom Griffin and Brian McNett.
Hi, everybody.
Oh, Jim. You can always count on you for the perfect button. What's new? I know it's been a while since we talked. I can't imagine anything new has happened, though.
I left my apartment today for the first time in like 3 weeks.
And where'd you go? 7-Eleven for dinner?
I went to the bank.
Oh, way to go.
Oh.
That's nice. What about you, Brian? Did you leave the house since we last talked?
Sure, I have. I think I went to the store once and then did some social distance drinking with a neighbor friend of mine.
Oh, that's nice. Yeah, I took a walk just to get out of the house. I grabbed some lunch and came back, but I wore a mask the whole time. And Jim, of course, you're out of the house almost every day, right?
Yeah, but I did actually do something social because typically I'm out of the house doing essential services, right? And then just I come home and hang out. I went and bought
Yeah,
sushi.
by the way, thank you for your service.
Oh, you're welcome, man. You're welcome. I went and bought sushi and had lunch with Walker in the park and ate sushi.
Oh, that's nice.
It was great. You have to eat real fast because it's hot out and it's fish.
Yeah.
Like legit, I was like, this is pretty fun. And then you're halfway through your meal and you're like, we better quicken this up. We can stay and chat, but let's eat this salmon real fast.
Yeah, before it gets hot. Now, I'm sure you guys have seen that obviously every day there's some new businesses trying something new to get customers in. And I don't know if you saw in Brussels, this restaurant just opened up where they're enclosing all the foretops in plastic. So they're putting the customers in plastic. They're saying they can get up to 3 people in there. I guess 4 is too crowded. But if 3 people can fit in there and the food comes and they, like you're in prison, put it through a little slot. But apparently it's safer because obviously the plastic blocks all the coronavirus.
Yeah.
Any opinions on that?
I don't know, some kind of get smart joke. I couldn't think of it.
I'm just saying, what I'm curious about, what I'm asking is, do we think that this is even worthwhile? I understand this is over in Brussels and they probably don't have it as bad over there because there's not as many people. But I mean, aren't we all just supposed to stay fucking home? Just fucking stay home.
It doesn't seem like a pleasurable experience. I'm not sure why I would want to do that.
Yeah, that's the other thing. If you need to get out of the house, which I totally understand, I just said I needed to get out of the house, and you need to do more than take a walk or go to the park or whatever, there's still plenty of things. The fucking local zoo here in Phoenix just started a drive-through thing where you can drive your car through the fucking zoo and look at the animals. It's a simple idea, but it's great, especially if you have kids and you need to get out of the house. But why do you need to go do all the things you used to do? The world is not the same.
Well,
right?
yeah. So here's what I think. I think that there's going to be a lot of trial and error on people's part, trying to figure out how do we recreate some of what we lost. And obviously, I think we all believe that in time, and it may not be for a year or 2. I don't know. Have no idea. I'm not a scientist, but obviously we all hope that there's a time when we can just go to a restaurant, but I think people are just trying, right?
You never have to say you're not a scientist. You understand that, right?
Well, don't you guys think I'm a scientist?
No, will never be an opportunity in your lifetime, past or present, when you have to tell people that you're not a scientist.
Tom, didn't you think I was a scientist?
No.
So that's already half of the people on this show.
What was Dr. Bruce asking? What was that, Dr. Bruce?
This philosopher of political science wants to know if we were under the misapprehension that he was a scientist. I mean, we know that he's a doctor of philosophy, sure.
Yes.
Yeah.
But did you think he was a scientist, Brian?
Yeah, I mean, from what I can tell, he experiments on his butthole all the time.
So he's a butthole scientist.
Yeah, I think that's the official title.
What about now? Do you think I'm a scientist now?
Oh.
Speaking of buttholes, did you guys watch that video of that little girl and all the videos she inspired? I wonder what's inside your butthole. Did you guys see that? I'm not joking. It's a real thing.
I know what you're talking about, but I didn't see any of the videos now.
Well, Google it if you haven't. It's a little girl and her dad or whatever is recording her, and she made up a song. The song is, I wonder what's inside your butthole. I wonder what's inside your butthole. And she sings a few lyrics, but then the dad cut it together so it sounds like a real song. And like he put in the chorus over and over again, and he made a video out of it. So then all these other artists came out and covered it. Somebody, it's not the real Elvis Costello, but somebody did an Elvis Costello cover of it. Sounds fucking great. It sounds like Peace, Love, and Understanding, but what's inside your butthole? It's fucking hysterical. And then like actual bands and like Josh Radnor from How I Met Your Mother and a friend of his who have like a duo, they did a cover of it. It's fucking great. And it's one of the best things to come out of this quarantine coronavirus comedy horseshit that I've seen in a long time. So you guys should check it out. All right, you want to talk about some television shows?
Hell yeah.
Might as well.
Of course.
All right. Well, let's talk about Rick and Morty first. It just came back for its new season, and I know at least 3 of us watched it, right?
Yeah, that'd be accurate.
I
I told Jim that I would do a shot for every show I didn't watch for this podcast. So
there's shot number 1.
You're just incentivizing yourself not to watch now.
Yeah. Are you giving yourself an excuse to just take more shots? Because you don't need an excuse, and you can't do more shots than you already do.
Guys, you're always on my back. That's it. I need another shot.
What are you drinking there, by the way? What is that, vodka?
It's a Hornitos.
Oh,
It's a
good
tequila.
Yeah, sure. Good stuff.
Tom's favorite.
So obviously, this is what, the fifth season of Rick and Morty, something like that. And so it's been on for a while, and they've been doing crazy shit for a while. But this, I think they really leaned into it, especially for a season premiere. This fucking thing basically challenged you. Good luck keeping up with this. We're not coddling our fans anymore. This is what we're doing now. I almost felt assaulted by the episode. What did you guys think?
Tom, you first.
Thank you. Thank you for jumping in to tell me to talk. That was I don't think I was quite as perplexed or blown away with it as some of the commentary I've seen. I feel like it's not a new thing for Rick and Morty. It's just sort of an evolution of a lot of stuff that they've done. They do a lot of high concept stuff. They frequently kick the fourth wall over and dance all over it. I didn't think any of this was new for the show.
But it was less obvious, I thought, and less of a joke, quite frankly. It was when you do just like Andy Kaufman-esque, it was more meta. And just for example, the train thing, when they say, this is a real thing, we want you to buy it. It's not a joke. We definitely want you to buy this train. And then there is no fucking train to buy.
No, there's no train to buy.
Yeah.
And of course, if there's any fans in the world who will definitely buy something that they're explicitly told to buy, it's Rick and Morty fans, or just fun, guys who like the type of shit that Rick and Morty is, like me and you. I mean, didn't you immediately go and try to buy that train, Tom?
I checked to see if the site was real. I did not believe there was an actual train to buy.
Yeah.
But I know that anytime a show like mentions a website, or anytime they make up a website, like the lawyers for that network will go and register the site because they don't want someone else to take it and do something crazy with it.
Right. It's a legal thing. If you say, like a long time ago, Conan made a joke about a website called sexymanatees.com. And then the next day, legal contacted him and said, FYI, we just bought the domain sexymanatees.com. And he found that so funny that they started content for sexymanatees.com, because like you said, the idea is that somebody says, oh, NBC owns sexymanatees.com, I'm going to put all this child porn on it, and then they're going to get in trouble. So yeah, it's obviously just a legal thing. But
here's what they should do with the train idea. They should have a train you could buy so that fans of Rick and Morty could buy it, and have it on, like, Toys R Us, I think, is coming back. Have Toys R Us have it, but not have quite enough for the fans to get, because then the fans who don't get it will respond very reasonably. They'll be so reasonably about not getting the toy train, because the thing I found about the Rick and Morty fans, and I think Tom will back me up, is they're pretty great. Rick and Morty fans are universally reasonable people who understand that they're watching a cartoon.
Szechuan sauce, I think, is the best example of that.
That is a good example. People were perfectly cool about that.
Yeah, nobody was a total kick about a fucking ancient dipping sauce for chicken nuggets that wasn't really that good in the first place. But I guess my point is, like, it reminded me of the Ocean's 11 episode, which I guess was last season, where it was so meta, just over and over. In fact, there's a whole scene where they're just trying to top each other with the meta-ness until one of them goes, oh, you win. You did it last. You won the meta-ness.
Which one did you like better?
Which episode?
Yeah.
The Ocean's 11 one, just because I thought it was funnier. And this is really my point, is that this episode leaned into all that meta and craziness, but I think there weren't as many jokes. And I think in a way, the jokes, or at least the number of jokes, was sacrificed so they could basically explain what was so crazy about this episode. They kind of had to go into detail, like Rick often does. But in this case, he really spent a lot of time explaining what was going on. And I think that left less time for jokes.
Yeah, I didn't find the episode confusing or anything like that. I was able to.
Well, because you're a scientist.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Hold on. I didn't find it confusing, but
all these like gags where the visual gag where you're chewing on your glasses, that's going to play real well on the MP3.
well, what I've always said, our show's for no one, nowhere. So, I
Hey,
just
Tom, that reminds me. Do you see that other funny picture I have on the other side of my room over here that I put up? This other picture here?
Oh, that's a really good one.
It's over here.
That's some good stuff.
You see it? Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I would just say I would agree with you that it was a less funny episode, but I enjoyed it. It was well crafted, and it felt to me. Tell me if you guys think I'm right about this. It felt like nothing in this episode feels particularly meaningful as far as a information you need to understand what might happen next. It was just an episode, like Interdimensional Cable.
Well, yeah, very much was a bottle episode, which they've talked about before. Although, I mean, I don't know. We'll see in a few days, but this seems like something they're going to go back to, like Interdimensional Cable. But didn't he say that in the episode? This is this season's version of Interdimensional Cable.
Yeah, he said we might as well have just done that.
Yeah. So, who knows with that fucking show? This is what I honestly it comes down to every time I watch the show, because things like that. I mean, I'm trying to make sense of it in my mind while I'm watching it. But then when the show is over, I always think, man, if Dan Harmon could see me trying to make sense of this, he would laugh so hard, because that's what it seems like it all is. It's Dan Harmon going, man, I'm going to put the craziest shit in here and see what people do. That's what it really comes down to.
I think it is it's two talented writers who are trying to keep themselves engaged and challenging themselves. And
right,
so they set up this structural challenge to build an episode around the idea of characters that become, they're not just, we've seen characters in stories before that are aware they're in a story, right? But the twist here is that the characters are actually aware of the story structure and are purposely trying to subvert it in order to escape the story. That's clever. I respect that. That's clever. And it's ambitious. Rick and Morty is a show that is ambitious, and I respect that too. But I would agree that this wasn't the funniest episode, but it was interesting.
All right. Well, so then I thought maybe I just didn't get a lot of the jokes, so I don't feel so dumb now.
Well, I'm going to cover it in my next class, so.
Oh, shit. I got to audit that. I got a full schedule, but I think I can audit that lecture. All right. Well, let me ask you, have you guys seen this Celebrity Viewing Party TV show? Have you heard about this? Have you seen this? I think it's called Celebrity Watch Party is the actual name. And it's brand new, but they get celebrities in their family and they put up a phone or a camera in their living room and they watch a show. And then on the actual show, it's I don't know, like in this one, the celebrities are like Tyra Banks and her mom, Robert Herjavec and his wife, Rob Lowe and his kids. So there's real celebrities, Meghan Trainor and her friends, the Osbournes, 3 of the Osbournes. So it's real celebrities, but it seems like it's a commercial for the show. Like in the first one, they're all watching The Masked Singer, and they cut back and forth. They do like 3 episodes per episode, 3 shows per episode. So they cut back and forth, and then they show the end of The Masked Singer and all the reactions. But I mean, I understand it's a show for the time, and networks are just trying to put something on TV, and I get it. But and we just saw where Parks and Rec did this thing where they came back together, and I don't know if you saw the cast of Community did a table read of one of the episodes where they all
hold on, I need to do a shot.
But is there something? I understand this is all a part of the time that we're in and all, but is there something sad about bringing back an old show that people thought was kind of neat and hoping that they'll enjoy it again? Do we find anything extra sad about that? Anyways, I just wanted to bring up that celebrity fucking watch party because it's ridiculous.
Hey, let me ask you a question.
Oh wait! Here's the best part. So on the celebrity watch party, like I said, Sharon, Ozzy, and Kelly Osbourne are watching clearly in their house. It's the house we all recognize from their many reality shows. And Ozzy's pretty much just sitting there, but of course Sharon and Kelly have a million things to say. But they're watching The Masked Singer. So at one point they cut over to Ozzy, and now he's got this ventriloquist puppet next to him for some reason, and they're dressed alike, of course. And he's before he was just sitting watching. Now he's just sitting watching with a dummy next to him. So then it gets to
he was sitting next to Jim,
Dr. Dummy. So it gets to the end of the Masked Singer, and they reveal who it is, and it's honestly some girl who's a singer who I've never heard of. And I was like, okay, that's not a surprise. But they cut to Ozzy and the puppets, and he makes the puppet say, "I have no idea who that is."
Let's go.
And it was fucking, and I thought, and it was great because I went from really, really hating the show to loving it 100%. And I ended up watching the whole thing just in hopes that they would do that again and make fun of their own horse shit. But I had to tell you guys about that one. If you want to watch the first episode, that's in it. Well, what were you going to say, Jim? I'm sorry, before I cut you off. Do you even remember?
Yeah, I do. Oddly enough, I do. What I was thinking, and tell me what you think about this. So you do some nonsense, right, where you're recording people watching a show, which is something that already exists on YouTube. There's whole YouTube celebrities who do that, right? That's a whole thing.
It's a reaction video. That's what I was going to say.
It's a reaction video.
Right.
Or you do something where you got the cast of Community doing a table read. I did watch the cast of Community doing something. I just don't think I watched them do the right thing. It was enjoyable. Or like we watched, Parks and Rec. What I think is interesting, and I wonder if this will happen, when film first came out, when we first started making movies, it was all started out just being nonsense, saying, hey, look, we filmed a guy riding a horse. And then they figured out how to make comedies, figured out how to make dramedies, drama.
It's like when they first started doing
TV. What's his Ernie Kovacs, of course. So is that going to happen? Are we going to
use the medium? Well, there's these guys here, and this is. I'm glad you brought this up because last episode we talked about how Parks and Rec just did an episode that takes place in the modern day where there's a fucking quarantine and they all talk to each other. But like, there's these. I don't know if I told you. There's these guys in town named Pizza Party. Did I bring this up last episode? I feel like
Pizza Party.
They're a comedy group called Pizza Party, but they did this show where the premise was they were all in a space station, and it was like a long form sketch show, and they spoke to each other like they were all up in a that they used the medium for the premise, and I thought that's what everybody was going to start doing, quite frankly. Are you saying that that's what you think will happen, Jim, or are you saying you hope it will happen?
More like it probably will, because that's what happens with art, right? A medium evolves, and then the artists evolve to understand that medium better. But I just thought of this, and then you guys come up with your own. Here's the reunion show I want to see, an episode of 24. So it's happening in real time, right? Well, he's just in his house. You see the counter, and he's talking, beep, beep, and then someone else is talking, real time though. This happened at 5:02.
That's pretty funny.
Right?
I like it. Yeah. Now, can he leave his house? I mean, he's a secret agent, basically.
No, here's the secret. He's quarantined.
Right.
It's because of the virus.
But he's not an essential worker, is what you're saying?
Nope.
Wow. Jack Bauer, not an essential worker. Jim Bruce is. All right.
Professor
Jim Bruce. All right. Anything else on these topics before we move on?
Brian?
Yeah.
Here's my pitch for a new quarantine show.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So we get a celebrity family, let's say like Kevin Bacon and Keira Sedgwick, right? And then we send them a product, and we film them opening up that product and showing us what's inside the box.
Okay.
I wish I knew what that was referencing.
And then it
Do I have
turns
to do a
out,
shot now?
and then it turns out it's that box from Seven.
Every time. It's got
Every
Gwyneth
time.
Paltrow's head in it every time.
And
Well,
everybody
that's the
says,
joke.
"What's in the
You don't
box?"
tell the celebrities. You tell the celebrities, hey, we're just doing these celebrity unboxing videos. So we'll send you something from Loot Crate and you just see what's in it. But it's actually always a human head.
Okay, that's a great show. Legit, that's a
Yes.
great show.
I agree. That is a great show. Because here's the thing about shows like prank shows that I've always hated. And I think you guys are on board with me. Prank shows are dumb mainly because it's like, I don't know this person. Why do I care that they fooled a real stupid person? I can do that. I have kids. I can tell them lies all day long.
Do you know what's much worse than that? I agree with you, by the way. That's terrible. Also, on Ellen, if you ever watch Ellen,
Ah, she's the
What?
fucking worst.
one thing I hate is I fucking despise alleged prank where someone's standing behind a door and goes, ugh, and then fucking whoever
Yeah.
fucking, you know, name
It's
a
not a
celeb.
prank. You're just scaring someone.
Also, they didn't get scared. They're on camera. Justin Timberlake wasn't scared.
Yeah.
Don't
So
lie
he-
to me.
Was he scared though?
He was scared.
But here's the
Okay.
pranks I like when they prank like Punked, when they prank celebrities and make them look stupid, because everybody likes that. Everybody likes seeing a person who is of a higher stature or just has a better life than them looking dumb and feeling dumb. And that's why Punked worked, because it was so mean, but it was always celebrities. You know, I remember they did an episode where cops showed up at Rachel Bilson's house to tell her that her dog had gotten out and was running through the neighborhood, digging up sprinklers and causing all this fucking damage.
Free
And,
show?
Yeah, it was free show. And she was like crying. She was upset because she was worried for her dog. And she was straight up saying, I don't care about the damage. I'll pay for all of that. I just want my dog. And she's like bawling. And I thought, this is fucking great, because I knew eventually Kutcher was going to show up and go, just kidding. And she would be fine and go back to her rich life with her beautiful dog and everything will be fine.
Also,
That's the prank show that is great.
It speaks
Where
well
was
to
her
character.
dog when they were doing that?
They
she
caught,
couldn't-
yeah, I don't know if, I think they had a friend.
Did they
come
have an
take the dog or
accomplice?
something.
Like
Oh.
kidnap the dog?
Yeah, they always have accomplices. So but it's usually, if you watch the show, it's usually like the person's manager or their agent or their sister. So it's like someone who they really trust, which is why the pranks go so well.
Mm.
Also, she comes out looking really amazing and correct because she's misses her dog. She'll pay for the damages, and
Yes.
that's pretty great.
And again,
Yeah, fuck that
if-
idiot.
all right, let's talk about, let's move on to trivia. Nobody got the trivia question last week. Of all the answers that people sent in, nobody had it right. The question was, Thomas Middleditch did those phone commercials with this girl, and she was on a current HBO show. Everybody loved to be as funny as you guys were and guess things like First and 10 and shows that were on in the 1970s, but nobody got it right. The actual correct answer was High Maintenance, which is a comedy on HBO. So
Well,
she was
wait a
on,
minute.
Do I have to do a shot now?
Brian, have you seen High Maintenance?
Yeah, no.
Do
Do
it.
you even have HBO, Brian?
No, I have TV.
Yay!
Hey, that reminds me. This comic who I used to know in Chicago. His name is John Bongiorno. He was one of the.
Was that his real name?
Yes, he's Italian. Why is that funny?
That's because
Because it's like some dumb fucking thing like a
No, I
comic
know.
would do. They're like, I'm John Bon Jovi.
It's not-
I'm
it's not-
John Bon Jovi.
It's not John DiGiorno, but also he was doing comedy before Bon Jovi, I think. But anyways,
Was he the comic that did deliveries though?
no, he was a
Like he had
funny.
a good delivery.
Yeah, I get it, dumbass. He was one of those Chicago guys who we always talked about and laughed about, and he recently died, which is sad and all.
Oh,
But
congratulations.
I was reminded of my favorite joke of his. He would tell the host to introduce him by saying he was on Arsenio Hall. And so everybody would be like, oh, in Chicago, at a fucking open mic, that's a pretty good credit, especially in the 80s. So then he would get back on stage and go, did he say I was on Arsenio Hall? I told him I was out sitting in the hall. And that was his opener, and I always fucking loved it. And it became one of those gags that you do with other comics all the time, like talk about John Bongiorno. Hey, did you know he was on Arsenio Hall? But so he died recently, and our friend Mike Siegel posted this obituary about him, which was very nice. But I had to post, yeah, John was great. I remember when he was on Arsenio Hall, and Mike gave it a thumbs up, so he got it. All right, so anyways, trivia, that was the question. The answer was high maintenance. This week, we're going to talk about Solar Opposites in a second, which also stars Thomas Middleditch.
Oh, boy.
Now, if you look at the cast of Solar Opposites, you'll see there's some people in it who were on the Paul Goebel show in the past. Gary, Anthony Williams, Wendy McClendon Covey is also on the show. They've been guests, but but the question is actually about
which one of you has been doing shots all show?
Yeah, well, I'm not doing shots. I'm just drinking straight up cocktails. But the question isn't about Solar Opposites. It's about Thomas Middleditch's other show, Silicon Valley. There was a recurring character on Silicon Valley who was played by an actor who was a guest on the Paul Goebel show. He was a major character on the show. If you watch the show, you definitely know his character. And he recurred over many seasons. And so the actor was a guest on this show. So any guesses as to who that actor is? Tom, you probably are the only one who watched Silicon Valley. Why don't you go ahead and guess?
I have not watched Silicon Valley.
Okay.
I know I'm supposed to
looks like
watch
somebody
Silicon
else has
Valley.
to do a shot.
The problem is, I was a big fan of Silicon Valley. I just hated our show. I'm not going to fake guess. That's the best I'm going to do on that one.
No, that's brilliant. You're not doing any better than that. All right, so if you have an answer, go ahead and write to paul@thekingoftv.com, and then you will get a notification that email does not exist, and then you will send it to me some other way through Facebook or the Instagram. I'm actually on Instagram now. Or you can email it to me if you know my other email, but there's so many other ways to get a hold of me that you can do it. So write to me with that answer. You may or may not get a prize. I got a lot of prizes, though. Hold on. Look at this. First season of Will and Grace with everyone's favorite episode, Boo Humbug, starring Jerry the Fat Neighbor. Or special edition of Not Another Teen Movie.
Ooh.
Starring Paul Goebel as a fat short order cook. We got them all. So I got plenty of prizes. All right, let's move on and talk about Solar Opposites, which just premiered. It's created by Justin Roiland, who also, along with Dan Harmon, created Rick and Morty. So it's animated the same. The shows look very much the same. And Justin Roiland does a voice in both shows, so that part sounds similar. But otherwise, the shows are very different. This show, Solar Opposites, it's on Hulu. It just is basically a simple animated sitcom about aliens who came to Earth and tried to fit in. I found it very funny. I thought the kids' characters were a little less fleshed out than I would have liked, but for the most part, I thought it was funny. Did anybody else watch it?
I did, and I do think it feels derivative. Maybe I'm wrong. It does.
I didn't want to say that, but yes, I agree with you.
It's partly because our lead character sounds like sober Rick Sanchez.
Right.
And I don't know. Part of me was like, when you go to an open mic and there's a terrible, terrible comic, and then you go, is he doing this on purpose? There was a part of me that was like, are they making fun of me by being derivative? Because that would be pretty great.
Right. But that's something Rick and Morty would do, is the thing.
Well,
Solar Opposites doesn't do that. But to me, I don't know about you.
I don't know if they do yet. It was one episode.
True. To me, the part that felt the most derivative was the kids, especially that little girl alien. She sounds so much like Kristen, what's her name, and specifically Mabel on Gravity Falls, which is about a boy and a girl who get into adventures. That part seemed the most derivative to me. Am I the only one who has seen Solar Opposites and Gravity Falls?
I've seen both.
Okay, so please, Tom, what's your thoughts?
Go ahead.
Well, I did not think of Gravity Falls at all while watching the show.
Okay, well, then maybe it's just me.
Wait. Why am I an idiot? Because I didn't think the thing you thought.
No, you're not. Jim is the idiot.
Oh.
Because he thought it was funny to tell you to go ahead and talk.
Oh, I didn't even hear that.
I know. I should have just ignored it.
Okay.
No, you're not an idiot. You're
Go
very
ahead,
smart.
Jim.
All right. Well, I've caused this weird loop now, so maybe I am the idiot. Yeah, no, I didn't think of Gravity Falls. I did think, of course, of Rick and Morty. It's hard not to. But I don't know. I'm not sure how I felt about it. I watched the first 2 episodes, and I'm a little ambivalent about it. I didn't hate it, but like it felt to me. It reminded me of the show I thought about actually was do you remember Super Jail on Adult Swim?
Yeah.
Super Jail was a show that was like
Brian.
Yeah.
No,
Did-
we can't do it every time you reference somebody.
That
It's
bottle's
something
almost
may not have
that
watched.
bottle's almost empty.
Hey, you made
Yeah, I
up the
only have
rules.
like this much left anyway.
Yeah.
You made up the rules, Brian.
Well, it was more the planned shows we were supposed to talk about. So I was thinking I was going to do like 3 shots, not like 14.
Got it.
Super Jail was a show that had a really distinct visual style. It had really detailed animation. There was stuff about it to like, but like the substance wise, it was just like, look how how crazy violent we can be. And I felt like that was the show's only real joke. And I was just supposed to I was just supposed to find the violence funny in and of itself. And I felt that way at moments in Solar Opposites, where like something crazy and violent would happen, and I felt like I'm just supposed to go, ha ha, everybody's dead, hilarious,
Right.
and, like without a show like Rick and Morty or a show like The Venture Brothers, other shows I enjoy that also get crazy violent. There's other stuff going on that gives that violence a context, and where you're supposed to kind of understand that the violence is horrific, even if you're supposed to laugh at how over the top it is. You are supposed to find it horrific. Where I felt here, I was just supposed to go, hey, that guy with the legs is dead now. Fuck that guy. Hilarious. And
Well, I think you're pointing out what is really the brilliance of shows like Venture Brothers and Rick and Morty is you have a guy who has a very interesting animation style, or a group of guys, and then you have a guy who has a very unique storytelling style, and then they get together and produce an amazing animated show. Solar Opposites is not exactly that, but I think it serves a purpose in that it's more digestible for the regular person, which is why it's on Hulu and not Adult Swim.
So is Solar Opposites the Family Guy to Rick and Morty's Simpsons?
Well, that's not a fair analogy because they're made by the same.
It's the American Dad.
Yeah,
Right. Although
Solar Opposites would be
kind of, except American Dad's good.
Yeah, I think American Dad is 100 times funnier than Family Guy. So that would be, let's say, and the jury's still out.
That's bad.
The jury's still out, but it could be that Solar Opposites is the Cleveland show, right?
Yeah.
If it doesn't get better. I'm not saying it's bad, but I'm saying this first episode is about on par with the first episode of the Cleveland show.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
I'll say that. But one thing I find funny about it is you brought up the fact that Justin Roiland does that voice, and you automatically think, hey, it's Rick Sanchez. But I don't know about you guys, but that's something I had to get over watching Bob's Burgers and Archer and every other thing that fucking guy is in. Because
Benjamin.
yes, because he does the same voice every single time and doesn't even pretend to change it up. Doesn't even make an attempt to change it up.
I'll say this about John Benjamin, though. I feel
He has
that
these-
I can tell I know the difference between Bob and Archer and McGurk. They're like, even though he's not doing a different voice, like the inflections and the meaning he gives behind it, like the attitude of the characters, I feel is significant enough that like I never when I watch Archer, I'm not thinking about Bob's, and when I watch Bob's, I'm not thinking about Archer. Like,
Because
So
it's
it's
an
about the
acting thing,
performance.
right?
Yeah, it's about the performance.
yeah,
Okay, so maybe the performance will get better.
Yeah, if the scripts get better, you know what? Too maybe because Rick and Morty exists already. You write the script, and you don't lay the groundwork to have somebody like myself or Tom go, I understand why the violence is here. Because it occurs to me there's a lot of shorthand. Like when you watch, like, if we all remember Suddenly Susan, going back ways, where we were
Brian, take a drink.
I actually have seen Suddenly Susan.
well, in the very,
this might be the only conversation that's ever jumped from Rick and Morty to Suddenly Susan.
yeah. How Rick and Morty of me. But in that show, we're supposed to, in the very first episode, understand that our two main characters have this deep, complicated relationship, and they have earned none of it. And it's similar in that regard, in that we have these kids, they immediately do something horrific and outrageous, and I don't fucking know why they did it, really. I understand that they did it, but I think, to Tom's point, like when Brock does something, well, dude, you laid the. I know who Brock is. I get exactly why he killed that dude. He's Brock.
Well,
So-
also, it's not just the violence. I mean, for me, the uneasiness or the unsettlement started when the teacher comes out into the hallway and calls the kids names, calls the alien kids dirty, filthy little aliens. It's clear that they, when they're complaining about being hated by the Earthlings, they're treated shittily. So when they kidnap this girl and shrink her down and pour Pepsi on her brain and do all the horrible things they do, we're supposed to still sympathize with them. But
what?
But yes, your point is that it's all unearned. It's completely unearned. My first thought was, why do these teachers and everybody hate the aliens? I mean, I understand it's natural to hate something that is new and different, but then why are they letting them go to school? Like, did the aliens show up and assert their civil rights? And then the ACLU came and said, yes, we have to let the aliens go to school. And they were like, all right, but we don't like it. There's clearly a backstory here that I didn't get. And I think that's why it's unearned.
You make a very good point, because just thinking about the cursing's fine, but I literally don't know why they're cursing at the kids, because I'm like, what am I? Because that's communicates something about the world that you're building, but
Right.
I don't know what it is.
Right, like the school on Rick and Morty. I mean, they've made it clear. Like most cartoon schools, it's not a good school. The teachers in charge are kind of dumb. And their focus is not quite right. But it's not a crazy school where crazy shit happens all the time. But when Rick and Morty world invades the school, they react accordingly. In this episode, apparently the school is like, what I get is they're trying to make the humans be the weirdest, dumbest people of all, like those two bros, in the helicopter and all. And like, the idea is it's the aliens who are actually normal and smart or whatever. But I don't know, that's been done before. And also, they're not doing it very well, if that's the case.
Side note, my favorite Rick and Morty thing about the school was when they did the flu dance. And the announcement was, this week we'll be having the flu dance. Now, just to be clear, this is not to celebrate the flu. This is to bring awareness about the flu. That was just one of my favorite things. Fucking love that show.
Yeah, it's a great show. All right. Well, that's all I have to say about that, or anything else. Any other topics anyone wanted to bring up?
Brian watched a game show.
What are these game shows that you said you watched? The new 21?
Let me, first off, I don't know why we always pick shows that I didn't watch. I don't know why we don't watch shows that I watch.
The point
For
is,
example,
I give you a list of shows and then you go watch them. The point of the show is not for me to guess what you watch and then have us talk about it, because that's not a good show. I don't want to be on that show.
To be fair, this one isn't either, but
Also,
True.
Brian, you can suggest a show. Do that when we'll watch your show.
Yeah,
okay.
that's possible. Jim did that last time.
So can I suggest a show that we all watch for next week?
Please.
Yes.
I mean, I'm not sure if it's a TV show or not, but if you guys all want to watch Plandemic. It's really good. Really exposes a lot of Fauci stuff, and yeah, it's something that everyone should watch.
Is that
YouTube keeps taking it down. Huh?
Is that show with that filmmaker? The guy in it who's a filmmaker, not a filmmaker, a filmmaker. 1M. First fucking guy in the video, and they can't get the Chiron right.
I didn't actually watch it. Did you watch it?
I watched that part. I watched
Okay.
it long enough
How
to
long
see
is
that.
it? Is it long? I don't want to get invested.
No, it's like an hour, but it's all bullshit from the very beginning. Everyone in it is a fucking liar or a moron.
You know what's great too is some of these dipshits their defense will be, well, you got to give it a chance and watch it. Just so you know, I didn't see Triumph of the Will, but
Right?
I fucking know which side of this I'm on, and I know how I'm right.
Yeah, I'm not gonna go. I have never watched a video about the differences between black people and white people's skulls, but I'm pretty sure that science has been debunked.
How does a black person's skull drive?
Well, a black person's skull drives like this. And a white guy's skull is like this. Right, Jim?
Man,
It's true.
Yeah,
It's true.
right, Jim. That joke from your act.
I cannot wait to get back to the casinos where, for reals, that would play.
Yeah. Right. Well, that's everything. What's the difference between black people and white people? Recording a podcast. Black guys are like, yeah, it isn't my podcast. White guys are like,
I'll tell you the difference. Theirs are probably good if we're just talking about ours.
Yes. So black guys will stop a nuclear reactor melting down like this. White guys will stop a nuclear reactor from melting down like this.
Uh,
I like that all white guys are apparently the Cantina band from Star Wars.
Well, they were doing a cover. It's a cover band. All right. Anything else we want to discuss?
Of course we appropriated it. Yep, that's us.
it does feel
That
right.
is correct.
Wow.
Well, with Little Richard dying, we gotta get on as much music as we can. All the black artists are dying. We gotta start appropriating gray, green, and blue artists. All right. Anything else we want to talk about?
No, because we're treading on territory where we do something wrong.
Treading on.
Yeah. I'm saying treading because nobody said any words.
Not yet.
I can't believe the episode took a turn after I mentioned pandemic.
Yeah. Weird. Okay.
Hey, you know
So-
what? Every time you say pandemic, you should drink bleach because it helps.
Yeah, do a shot of bleach.
That's a pretty good joke.
All right. Anything anyone else wants to talk about or plug before we go home or stay home?
Well,
I do. Well, we'll do plugs, but I have my thing ready.
Oh, yeah. I'm gonna get to it. I want to go out as when we're. I want your thing to be the last thing. You're talking about your mashup, or you have a different thing?
No, I just making sure you remember the mashup.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Why do you say thing like it's a big surprise? Like this is something new you have planned?
Well, I don't want people to know right away it's a mashup because I want them to keep listening.
Surprise.
If they know there's only a mashup left, they'll stop listening.
Like I am fucking out. I get it. It's Ray Romano something.
All right. All right. Do your mashup and let's get out of here then.
All right. Hold on. Let's get this ready.
I was changing the screen.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Oh God.
Nice. For listeners at home, there's a forest background behind him. It's like a picnic table and some trees.
All right. Hey, boo boo. I'm wanted to steal some picnic baskets, but Ranger Smith said I couldn't. I mean, what's with this fucking guy telling me I can't steal a picnic basket? What? Steal a picnic basket from some broad who had a picnic basket? I mean, Come on. You got a picnic basket. It's always some broad who put in a bunch of sandwiches. I mean, it's a broad who put that together and made a sandwich. Wait, it was a guy who put it in there. There'd be like a beer or something, because but it's some dumb broad who put in some fruit. How the fuck what's an apple when you're out stealing picnic baskets? Conan, I'll tell you something. Fucking these broads. Okay, get sensitive about it. Yeah, okay. I'm the politically incorrect one because I want a decent picnic basket. You can't even go to colleges and talk about the way broads put food in a picnic basket.
Okay, I think I know what it is, but I don't like it. Is it Yogi Marin?
Oh my God, it's a pun at least. And I'm a fucking Tom knows what it is. I see it in his damn
It's
eye.
not Yogi Marin?
No.
It sounds like Yogi Marin to me.
You think it's Yogi?
Is it Boo Boo Dice Clay?
Finally, somebody got it. Okay.
What is it, Tom?
I have no idea.
Oh, Tom doesn't even know, Jim.
You know what it is. You
I
fucking
don't.
go
It's
to
Yogi
college.
Bear and some misogynist comedian. That's why I said Mark Maron.
It's Yogi Burr.
Oh, shit. Yogi Burr. You have to do a Boston accent. That would have sealed it. We would have got it if you had just done the slightest Boston accent.
Fucking picnic basket in Harvard Yard.
There you go. Perfect. Yeah. It all came together right there.
Hey, Boo Boo, where'd we park the car?
Wow, Yogi Burr. That actually makes me think it's like Nelly talking about Yogi Bear. Nelly the rapper. Yo, man, you guys check out Yogi Burr. Stealing those baskets, bro. All right. I've done 2 impressions of black guys on the show, so I think that is time to wrap it up.
Yeah.
So, unless there's anything else, we're all going to go fuck ourselves. Goodbye, everybody.
Stop the recording.